Hey guys, Mike here. So it looks like it played out perfectly from what we talked about yesterday, which was what? We were watching the Qs to see if they were going to catch the Qs up. And of course, what happened? We'll get into it, but we set another all-time high for the Qs finally. So now, SPY's already said it, IWM, Dow Jones, and now the Qs has joined the party. So what happens next is the big question. And we'll get into the theme that you saw today, okay? It kind of worked out perfectly from what we've been talking about. And again, one day does not make a trend. Okay, so this is the big thing, and I'll get into a couple of charts some of you guys asked me about as well, because you have some big movers. But first of all, again, a lot of questions about this. It is Cyber Monday. Just use the link down the bottom which says Black Friday. It takes you to this right here. As you can see the time left on it. Same deal, which is actually better than last year. They only gave you 60% off. But again, as I point out in Saturday's video, look at the plus and the premium. Look at the prices. Okay, that's what they're driving you to. So test drive it for a year. If you don't like it, always go down the middle plan, right? So anyway, hit the link at the bottom if you want to do that. Appreciate your support and everything. Again, I'll be making videos, or if you have any questions about TradingView, I'll put them in Saturday's videos for you guys, and I'll be making private videos for the members, okay? So now getting into this, we talked about the Qs. Which path are we going to take? Keep wedging or bust out? We finally broke out. Of course, what did we say was going to cause that? It was going to be semis and the Mag 7, right? Which we'll get into and show you. So that's a new all-time high for it right there. You can see last time we set a new all-time high, we sold off. So that's really the big question, what we're going to do now that the Qs have caught up. And so you look QQEW up about 0.7% today. When you look over to the right, you can see SPY, basically that was like after 130 right there. It was basically flat all day. IWM was red most of the day. Dow was red all day. Dow Jones Transportations, HYG. I'll get into bonds tomorrow. RSP, Equal Weight ETF was red all day. But you go up, whenever you see the Qs this far ahead, you know exactly what's happened. It's the Mag 7. This is why it's been lagging. This is why it was lagging last time. So all of them were green. Okay, NVDA was the only one kind of going, I don't know, maybe grid, maybe green, whatever. But it was the SOX divided by SPY, okay? And then MAGS, M-A-G-S, which is the Mag 7. And finally, of course, you see the semis actually did start to move up, even though it was really without NVIDIA. You see SMCI up like 30% at one point in time a day, which we'll talk about. That one got some news right there for sure. And we talked about that one in Saturday's video. So will they be able to move up without NVIDIA? Yeah, they can, but most likely, like, I remember I showed you the chart, like I think it was yesterday, and I said, if you, actually I think it was Saturday's video, yeah, and I said if you get this breakout, yeah, semis can absolutely move and start participating in the year-end rally. Right now, is there going to be a false breakout? That's what we'll have to see. Again, this is SOX versus the SPY. Okay, when you come over here to SMH right here versus the SPY is another one. You can clearly kind of see, and I'm going to put like a range in here. Normally during this ratio, when you get in this area since February 2024, you see semis start to rally versus the SPY, and you're starting to get a bounce here again. Also, you have SMH doing what? It bounced off that 200. I think it was Wednesday, excuse me. And so it's got 2 green days. And I always tell you, look at an ETF or a stock, and look at how it respects the moving average. When you go back and look at SMAs, you can see it respects this 200 moving average, whether it's rejecting off of it or bouncing off of it. And you can go all the way back to like 2016, 17. And so normally if we're not in a crash or a big move down, it actually does get a bounce. How long that bounce will continue, we'll have to see. Again, one day does not make a trend. Okay, so let's pay attention to see if money starts to move into this, if it rotates out of all the high flying stuff. Now, SMCI, we talked about in Saturday's video, as a matter of fact. You got this gap above. Is it a legit company? Sure. Can it move higher? Yes. Why? Because of that big gap, and all they got to do is put out news. So what they do today? Hey, look, our review board cleared us or whatever, and it's not that the auditor came in and did anything. The auditor hadn't even touched the books yet as far as we know. They're still not compliant with the Nasdaq to stay on there, but it just says, here we go with this independent review. They cleared us and said basically that the auditing firm really had no reason to leave us and everything's great, and maybe that's the case, right? So again, this is what they came out and said. They're still not compliant with the Nasdaq. I made that very clear. Their auditor has not come in and even started finalizing what they see in the books yet. And so we'll have to see where this is going to go. But of course, that's, anything for SMCI seems to be bullish right now. So of course, it can move up. It is a high flying type of stock. So that's what happened. And again, where's your target? Right at the top of that gap, right below $50. Okay, that's where you're going to look at for the next target. Obviously, it comes down like you've seen before. It'll just drop right back down, probably to the bottom of that gap. You're looking at it. But again, It's came up, it's retested, now it's bouncing again. So this is a news-driven story here. We'll see what happens. But again, I know a lot of people were flying in this one day, especially with the calls and stuff. So congrats to you on that one. Now, Tesla, you can see right here, big day today. That's why you saw NVIDIA doing what? Not moving. They don't move on the same day, it seems like. God forbid they move 2 or 3 days in a row together. Wouldn't that be nice? But again, we'll mark out this area right here because it seems to be a problem for Tesla to get through right now. So it's definitely resistance between like 358, 361. I'll move that trend line up right there as resistance. Get rid of this other one right here, but you can plainly see 336.51 is going to be your support. If we do come down, obviously you can feel this gap right here, which will take us down to the bottom of around 345.18 is where I'd look to see a bounce if it does come back down there before moving up higher. But again, what's crazy about Tesla here is finally you saw one of the biggest bears on Wall Street actually capitulate and move into this stock. And here's what I'm talking about. Right here you can see Craig Irwin of Roth Capital moved his price target up from 85 to 380. And this guy supposedly has been a bear for a long time, calling it egregiously overvalued, whether you believe in that or not. But he has held true to it no matter what has happened until today. And here's a quick interview with him, just in case you don't believe he is a bear.
I don't know what we're going to do anymore when we look for a Tesla bear and we can't go to you. I mean, it was tough to begin with. Why this move? And, what do you say to those who will just cynically point to you and say, well, he's been wrong for so long, he just finally had to throw in the towel?
So what I'm looking at is this quarter is probably the last quarter of relative weakness, right? So, my view is, battery prices gave them the margin upside this last quarter, the prior quarter, and the CFO was very clear about the margin outlook for the fourth quarter. And the stock is responding to the Trump bump. Musk was one of the most passionate and authentic supporters of President Trump, and obviously a very close ally of his. Moving forward, the DOGE, the Government Efficiency Initiative, and all sorts of other things position him to play an interesting role in the Trump administration, right? So the last quarter of relative weakness, I think now he's got a new pool of buyers, conservatives that might not have looked at EVs quite as closely in the past, that allow an acceleration of demand in the core U.S. market, right? So that means we're looking at positive estimate revisions, and I'm asking myself, where are the catalysts, right? I don't see very many negative catalysts if estimates are going to positive revisions, and they're abundant positive catalysts. Things are going to look a lot like they did 11, 12, 13 years ago, where they can literally invent their own milestones and knock them down.
So you're like, all right, then there's another bear capitulating into Tesla. So, not a bad thing for Tesla. And understand, if you're, people talk about 400, guys, 400 is nowhere, not even that far away. It's like 10%. That's nothing. I mean, we moved 3-4% in one day on this stock. And so, we'll see. Again, that's where I kept seeing all those flash up again today. So we'll see if it's going to continue. But, if you're an NVIDIA holder, you're kind of going, well, maybe you're going to have to wait on Tesla to stop its move because, again, they're just not moving on the same day here. Now, Square, of course, big day today, up 7%, gave a lot of it back. And all that happened was you had Goldman Sachs and some others come out, raise the price target and all that good stuff. One went 87 to 102. Another one, if we keep scrolling down, we'll see it. It ended up coming up and raising theirs from 90 to 120. And that's all good. Again, this is still trying to break out. It's above that level. And so if it can get above like 95 and hold, maybe this thing does finally go to 120. It's a very frustrating breakout stock right now. Again, what's happening? BTC is down. So if it's correlated to that, that's not a good thing for it. But it did end up bucking the trend because today you saw Upstart down 13%, Affirm's down 3%, PayPal is red the majority of the day, SoFi down almost 3% today. So a lot of profit taken in Fintech, and that's one thing that helped pull it back down to reality right there. And when we look at Upstart, you can see what happened. It just got a downgrade. I mean, this thing is absolutely flown right here, even though the SoFi said, hey, it's a pretty good one right here, but it still went red. It was just a total profit taken in this theme, total profit taken in a lot of themes, right? That's why I was saying you got to watch out when these things fly like this. There will be profit taken. I love how they downgrade, but they increased the price target by $12 on this one. And when you look at the chart, I mean, it's just had such a crazy, crazy move. I mean, this thing has gone from 47 to 85 in like, what was that, 3 or 4 days? And so that's just nuts. And so now it's giving a lot of that back. But when you look at it, there's a gap right there. So can it go down more? Absolutely. I mean, it come down, fill that gap right there, and then get a bounce. And so, you know, we're looking at all the stuff, where the trend line is going to be, and we just have fun with this and draw some trend line support. Maybe look for some confluence. I think we can find some. So there's a nice trend line. We'll end up putting the gap in here. And I'll go across that trend line right there. We'll draw some fibs on this thing, bring it down to where it started to move up from right there. And so now that trend line puts it in a nice discount range between the golden pocket and 0.79 fib. Bring it also down into some support as well. And then we'll draw this gap right here. So gap fill into a discount, into trend line, into support. That's a lot of confluence. I mean, it'll be nice. I don't know if it's going to bring it down or not, but if it continues profit taking, sure, you know, it can move down there pretty quickly to around 58 to 60 bucks. So we'll see how that one plays out. Keep it on your radar. Now, Enphase, we ain't talked about in a while. Finally, like I said, once it breaks above this trend line, then you may be cooking with Crisco. Finally got that. Again, this is a momentum stock, so it's been just hammered down, beat down into the dust. And so if you're looking at this one, if it continues to move up, the first thing is going to be that gap right there up to around, I believe it's 85.05 is where you'll probably see it go. If we look at the RSI, MACD, you'll get some, you know, momentum indicators here to see where it's at. You can see they're almost trying to push the RSI above the 50. The MACD is still below the 0, but you saw that bullish MACD cross down there as well. If the MACD gets above 0, this one's really going to be moving. Look at the weekly. It looks like it's trying to curl up right there. RSI is crossing that moving average, not above the 50 yet. If we end up trying to bring in the stochastic RSI, it's going to be interesting to see how it handles that daily, or sorry, is that a weekly fair value gap? It sure is. So, you know, if it cuts right through it, you know we're moving. You should see some reactions off that, and it should be. That's normally how you see it happen, but we'll see. You see the stochastic at the bottom curling up. That's bullish right there. On a higher time frame, on the weekly time frame, it gets above that 50. You're really moving. And so, you know, this is one to keep an eye on. Again, some momentum stocks had a decent move off of 58. You can see also the 50 moving average comes in where? Right around that 85 area as well. So that would be a good point to actually have a rejection right there. And so, you know, we bring this up. Also, looking at where it fell from, that puts you up right around the 0.79 fib. So nice area for it to move up to and get a rejection there. Now, somebody asked me about ACHR. This is one of those ones I told you about, the flying cars or whatever this is. These air mobility stocks and stuff. I showed you a short video, either was it Saturday, I think it was, what's happening in the Russell. And you can see today, I mean, in one day, right, 29% drop. That's how these stocks work. I can already tell you, I honestly did not look this up until I'm doing this video, but I can bet you this is a Russell stock because I know what kind of stock it is. It's either going to be a low float or it's going to have a very high short interest to it. And that's why you're seeing this crazy, crazy move, just like you're seeing in all the rest of them. Archer ain't no special than anybody else. And we scroll down, there it is. Not a low float stock, so to speak, or not like 50 million, 100 million on that, but a 29% short interest on it. So yes, this is one of those reasons. So you get the very low floats or you get the highly shorted stocks. Now look at this one. These to me are like hard to chart because they're literally short squeezes, and it's a theme right now. They can drop very fast. But you can clearly see some support right here. I mean, somewhere in this area is really more of a range, but we'll pull this down about right there. That gives them some support right there. If it holds that, maybe you get a nice bounce. You do have a gap to fill. You get all kinds of fair value gaps beneath it, so all kinds of liquidity. And again, I like to pull up the fib and see if stuff's in a discount or not. And looking at this one right here, you know, you can see that this is not even in a discount from where it started torpedoing up or rocketing up right there, almost right in that area right there. And so if you can get down there, fill a gap, get into a discount area, maybe get to some kind of trend line support, you know, maybe, man, this is a high flyer. So this one's a lot of high reward, but also a lot of high risk, okay? And so you can see it got overbought. So people are just problem taking right now. Is this theme going to die or all of them going to start selling down? That's what you got to figure out. Don't just watch this one. Watch all the rest of them, which I showed you in Saturday's video. You can go look at that and pull up the tickers on it and see, does it finally start to curve up on the lower time frames? It's starting to look bullish again. Is it just profit taking or is it something else where you start to see all this money start to rotate out of these high flyers and into maybe safer names like your Microsoft and your Apples and that kind of stuff? That's what we got to pay attention to. Is again, don't just watch this stock, watch all of them, okay? And again, when you look at this right here, see how it handles these fair value gaps. Does it cut right through it and just start heading straight up? Or is this where you start to see it start to short back down? That's where people start shorting. And then when you break this level right here, that's when you know you're going down even farther for sure. So nice 50% drop or something. So we'll see. Now, when it comes to earnings, you got Salesforce, Okta, Marvel, and then Pure Storage. And when it comes to data, all you're going to have tomorrow is JOLTS job openings, which should get the market's attention. So again, if you want to sign up for the TradingView Cyber Monday sale, hit the link down the bottom. Got any questions, hit them down the bottom as well. Let me know what you're doing in this market and stuff like that. It's going to be interesting to see how it handles it now that the Qs did hit an all-time high. Do we get a pullback or do we just keep on running? So anyway, hope you guys got some out of it. Hit the like, subscribe if you did. Think about signing up for the membership. Less than McDonald's combo. There's everything you get with it. And I'll see you guys tomorrow.